Good morning, grade 4 students. Welcome back to our center. Start by reading our work plan for today. First, time for review. See something. We'll do our discussion and we'll end up with a 3, 2, 1. Time for review. Matter is made of particles. It exists in 3 states, namely solid, liquid, and gas. We also have Bio-Einstein concentrate and plasma. But for now, we are going to focus on solid, liquid, and gas. So sit back and watch as we recall what we have talked about in our last lesson. We are going to move from physical properties of substances to exploring their chemical properties. How chemical property differs from physical property. When you determine a chemical property, you actually change the identity of the substance. So our learning targets for today are: I can identify the chemical properties of matter. I can identify the chemical properties present in materials. Elements alone are wonderful. The reaction of these elements with each other that makes life possible. Chemical properties can only be seen when the matter is combined with something else and forms a new substance. So what is this chemical property? A chemical property is a characteristic of a substance that is observed during chemical reaction. See something, say something. Let us use our visual intelligence in observing the paper as it burns. If you get a piece of paper and burn it toward a flame, you will notice that it burns rapidly, leaving behind a black-colored ash. What will happen to the paper? Is the property of ash similar to paper? This activity proves that paper has different properties with ash. So what is these chemical properties? Chemical properties are characteristics of a material that become evident when the material undergoes a chemical reaction or chemical change. Just like what happened with the paper, when it burns, it turns into an ash. Now we can observe the ash for its chemical properties. People cannot observe chemical properties by simply viewing or touching a sample of the material. Like the paper, if we are just touching the paper, then we are just looking for the physical properties. But when it turns into an ash, therefore we can observe it by the chemical properties. The actual structure of the material must be changed in order for people to observe the chemical properties. Now we can observe the properties of the ash. Chemical properties can only be established by changing a substance's chemical identity and are different from physical properties, which can be observed by viewing or touching a sample. Scientists use chemical properties to predict whether a sample will participate in a chemical reaction. Chemical properties can be used to classify compounds and find applications for them. So these are the chemical properties that we are going to talk about. We are going to talk about reactivity, flammability, and ability to trust. Let me explain what chemical reactivity means. By definition, chemical reactivity occurs when substances change chemically. How easily one material can combine with another material to form a new substance. You can think of reactivity as how easily a substance reacts with other substances. So how would you know if you saw a chemical reaction? What is often produced with this type of change is something in the form of heat and combustion. A simple way of thinking about reactivity is to imagine mixing two or more things together and watching what happens when they hang out or mingle with each other. Going to produce a new substance, or going to produce heat, or going to explode. Okay, so you imagine what will happen. As you might gather from these questions, chemical reactivity can be very finicky. 1 minute, chemical substances are relaxing in a solution. The next, they are arguing and creating explosions. They can be highly reactive. It's just like in this picture, a room full of students in a Zoom classroom. 1 minute, they were quiet. And the next, when you turn on the mic, what will happen? There is a lot of noises and explosion. Okay, so who knows what will happen if we unmute and mute, if we react thumbs up or clap. So this is a very good example of reactivity. When we react with each other, we can produce new learning, we can have new concepts and new ideas. But how are we going to do that? So being a successful learner starts with having a positive attitude towards learning. So I know that this is a new normal. It's very hard to sit still, to listen to your teacher. It's really hard for us to control ourselves in touching our gadget so that we can do something else, but we have to be positive in reacting. We have to learn how to follow the instructions given by our teacher. So when you do that, a positive attitude lets you relax. So you'll feel relaxed. You will enjoy learning face to face like this in a Zoom class. Then you will remember, focus, and absorb information as you learn new ideas. You're ready to welcome new experiences and recognize many different kinds of learning opportunities. Isn't that great? Okay, mixing substances to make a medicine and the mixture of a toxic spill with substances in the affected environment. When we combine materials or chemicals, it is good that we can create new product. But what will happen with these products? Is it good for our environment or not? So we need to be very careful on what we are mixing so that it will not affect our environment. Alright, next is flammability. How easily something will burn or ignite is a chemical property. The ability of a chemical to burn or ignite, causing fire or combustion. Fire testing is done to determine how difficult or easy it will be to get a certain material to burn. Because you can't tell just by looking at something how easily it will burn. Information about flammability is used in building codes, fire codes, insurance requirement, and storing or handling and transporting highly flammable materials. If you will look at the picture, it is categorized into A, B, C, D, K. So A means A for ash. That means ordinary combustible. So this is easily combustible. Examples are wood, paper, cloth, etc. So when it creates ash, the symbols that you are going to use is A. So if you will look at this one, burning trash can or wood, that means A. The category is ordinary combustible. When it's B, that means barrel. So these are the materials that is put in a barrel, like grease, oil, paint, solvent. So these are flammable liquids. Next is C. C for current. So these are electrical panel, motor, wiring. These are live electrical equipment that when you put them or it will cause fire. Next is letter D, combustible metal. So D for dynamite. So it's explosive. Next is K. And this one is very easy. K for kitchen. So things that will easily burn in our kitchen like cooking oils, animal fats, vegetable oils. These are commercial cooking equipment. So the second chemical property that we can see in a material is the ability to ignite, flammability. The third property that we are going to talk about is ability to rust. What is this? Ability to rust is a chemical property of iron. The metal silver does not rust, but eventually a darker substance called tarnish forms on its surface. We can see the example of rusting here. When iron and oxygen react chemically, they form a rust. So we will look at the picture. At first, it was shiny, and then after a while, it becomes rusty. Rust is chemically different from either oxygen or iron. It's a new product. Those are just example of chemical properties that we can see when a chemical reaction takes place. In summary, what are chemical properties? A substance's ability to combine with or change into a new substance. Common chemical properties are reactivity, how likely a substance is to react with another substance to create something new. Reactive to oxygen, reactive to air, reactive to water. Next one is flammability, how likely a substance is to catch fire. And then the ability to rust. Knowledge check. Now let us use our logical intelligence on this. Complete the diagram about the chemical properties of matter. You can go to your Genio and answer this one. Last one is our 3-2-1 wrap up. So you will write 3 chemical properties of matter, 2 materials which a chemical reaction can occur, and 1 question you have in your mind. This one can also be answered in your Genio package for this lesson. Another wonderful learnings from our scientific class. More exciting adventure will follow. So once again, this is Miss Shara from your scientific class. Goodbye everyone. Don't forget to subscribe on my channel. I love you.